Hello there, and welcome to 10 advanced tips and tricks for strategies and armies in Age of Wonders 4. In this video, I have a lot of little things that are happening strategy-wise and combat-wise on the map side of things, not directly in the combat screen. So let's get started with number one right away. I want to talk about how many troops you take on your expedition force, which clears out these little nodes here and there. I personally think that 12 units are more than enough for hard difficulty. If you're playing brutal, you might need a little bit more, but after 12 people, I personally think that your troops are spent elsewhere better, because most of the encounters here are easily done. When you bring 2 heroes and a couple of decent tiered troops, you can easily clean out even gold infestation spawners. Number 2, the rest of the troops that you don't need for your expedition force can be safely trained back home and form up a home guard. Just rack them up, keep the hero here at home if necessary, and keep training quality troops that retain a value for you in the longer run. Avoid cluttering your armies with low value tier 1 units, as these don't have really much value in the later stages of the game. They clump up your army. You will either have to lose or disband them eventually, and well, it's like buying cheap when you need to buy double at the end of the day. Instead, invest into tier 2 plus troops as soon as you can, as hard as you can. If you need a rush though, these guys are more than okay. Number 3, upkeep savings. So several heroes have specific skills, or there's cultural traits for savings of upkeeps. These stack up until minus 50%, or at least they did with until the previous version. I don't know if this something has changed with the Ogre version of the game. But either way, this is a very, very valuable stat. My recommendation here, if you have one specific hero at hand that's really good at reducing unit upkeep, give that specific hero the highest tier troops, because tier 4 plus even costs Imperium, and therefore you get a nice saving on that end. But no matter what, upkeep savings are extremely valuable bonuses in general, and make you basically just maintain more army for the same amount of money, which is in the hands of a human player insanely valuable. Number 4, experience matters. So when you level up your troops, they will gain XP, and they will also gain these little medals here. And these make so much of a difference. So in general, try to avoid losing stacks of tier 2 plus troops in general when you can. Every tier 2 or higher troop that you lose is a permanent loss in fighting power, especially the higher the experience of theirs goes. Therefore, tier 1 troops actually have a pretty good value in terms of being something you can sacrifice, or have some people on your roster where you don't mind the fluctuation of personnel. I personally like to have sometimes such little units here that I can resummon or otherwise replace easily, or freebies that I have collected from the map. Either way, choose which troops you want to keep until their very highest level, because a max level tier 2 troop is so much more powerful than a beginner level. It is really, really a lot. Also, use the fact that with buildings in your cities, you can increase the rank of your troops. The higher the buildings, or some, it really depends on your build, but at the end of the day, the increase of ranks via buildings in your cities is another thing which gives you a strong head start. It shouldn't be underestimated under any cost. Number 5, roads and teleporters. So roads and teleporters are very, very important tools for bigger empires. They do cost you, though, Imperium. So here's the deal about it and how I work with these. Road building I rarely pick. This is something I only pick if the realm which I'm playing in forces me to wander long distances regularly towards battlefields which I can't avoid. Typically that is in scenarios where you are attacked from many enemies from several fronts, there it can be useful to build a couple of roads, but usually the road network of your own cities is enough. Rarely did I need more than that. But it has its uses, especially when you are under pressure, like I described before. But on the other hand, the teleporter infrastructure is something that I personally even consider as a must-have in the later stages of the game. It allows you to transport troops very, very effectively from one place to another, and it gives you so much flexibility in terms of troop movement that you will otherwise really, really miss. Missing out on teleporters at least makes the late game a lot harder, in my personal opinion. Number 6, fast movement and terrain walk. So these are two really, really powerful traits to have. As you see there, every troop on the map has a different amount of movement points. You see them here. The regular troop walks a 32 units. The fast troops walk a 40, and there are also some very fast units with 48. I can't put it into proper words how darned powerful this stat actually is. A troop or a banner composed out of movement 40 troops can easily outrun any enemy. 48 makes the difference even harder. Terrain walk brings an interesting similar advantage here, because as you see here, these troops have river walk, and as you see there, this is a 50% speed increase. Long story short, movement speeds in this game do matter a lot, but a generalistic increase of movement speed is a massive bonus, which reflects in so many ways. They even get a larger movement radius on the battlefield, mind you. So what I'm trying to get down to is when you can get these abilities, play around them. If you don't want to play around them, you should probably invest your power budget elsewhere, because I gotta say, I gotta be in the mood to play a kitey culture. Otherwise, I don't like them to play them. It's not my personal favorite playstyle. Moving on to number 7. Heroes can be either supportive or active in their main role. Obviously, we can do a lot more in the long run, but many heroes can be used, or I think in the first 8 levels, it's best off to focus them either into one or the other role. So supportive heroes, you can use these skills over here, like on the Mortal Champion route for defensive or offensive qualities. Some other aspects can also give you other troop bonuses. Some classes are more supportive than others. The Defender and the Ritualist come to mind. Whatever might be the point. If you play a supportive hero, you're playing more around your troop roster, mind you that. You are going to go and focus more about the troops that you got, because the hero themselves will not pack as much of a punch. If you focus on the offensive side of things, stronger, you will have overall a weaker cultural roster, but the hero will be a super troop of sorts, which really is a fearsome opponent, which can easily outshadow tier 4 units very, very quickly with given the proper equipment and the proper skilling, which is in all regards a very, very potent tool for the early game. I personally see it like that. Skilling your hero in a way that they can interact with the combat more proactively, deal a lot of damage, be inside the enemy with being unkillable and all these things, is good for the early game, whereas the supportive side of things is better when the game matures and your troops are bigger and there's more troops to play around. Because at the beginning of the game there's not much troop to play around, and that might be of a disadvantage. Depending on your build again, this game is very, very diverse. Number 8, how to create a strong banner under the given circumstances. So this is a really, really tricky one, because at the end of the day, every culture has a different power profile and plays a little bit differently, but a few things are always the same. First up, choose whether you want to be more of a melee-centric, ranged-centric, or balanced type of build. It really always boils down to one of these 3 alternatives for me, and every one of these leads to a certain form of banner formation. Here goes the short talk. Melee can easily hold up a banner that is entirely composed out of fighters, with the exception of one supporter, which is meant to patch up and support the people. In this interaction, try to have a lot of diversity between your fighters. Have spears, shields, and shock troopers. Not only one type of fighter. That would be really not using your strategy to its full extent. In that scenario, if you use it entirely, you have on the shock troopers something to break up the enemy's defenses. The spears double down as a hybrid between offense and defense because they have a decent damage, good retaliation, but they don't really shy away from poking a big hole into the enemy. And on the other end of things, we have the shields, which have a pretty lowish damage profile, but they bring a lot of utility to your melee front line. Paired with a supporter who can heal a little bit, you just don't need ranged troops at the end of the day. Positioning is a little bit more rough. On the other end, if you're playing a ranged-centric build, you can go very well with going for one supporter, 3 ranged attackers, and something like 2 shields, or other melee-centric troops that are good at controlling enemies. There's melee troops that can hold enemies, immobilize enemies, displace enemies. These guys are pure gold for a ranged-centric build because you want to pluck the enemy melee troops away from your shooters so they can wreak havoc again, because there's where your main damage budget is at. Here again, your supporters are in the minority, and in a balanced situation, it is pretty simple. You go for 3 melee, 1 support, 2 ranged. That's pretty much how you can get the balanced approach. What you put into these slots, again, the higher the tier, the better. There's not much more to say. Number 9, weak-siding the enemy. So here I want to bring up a little bit of an abusive scenario that you can bring up into the enemy AI. The thing is, in this game, we can only fight 18 troops versus 18 troops at one time. There's never going to be more troops than that at a single time on the battlefield, as far as I know at least. And here's the deal. Sometimes your AI enemy brings more than just one trio of stacks. Sometimes they bring 5, 6 or more stacks. When you see a stack that, let's create this situation like that. When you see a stack looking like this, please imagine in the scenario that this one with 4 is full. And you would see something like that. 6, 6, 1, and let's imagine there's another one. So, these 3 are full for the sake of the demonstration, and this one is a 1. If you'd be attacking the banner that you're attacking is forced to be in the fight. And then the game randomly selects 2 other banners that are in the vicinity. So if we interact and attack the weakest one, the game will now fill up with 2 banners filled with 6 people. But in this scenario, we would be fighting 13 against 18. That would be a massive advantage to our end already. The AI is often pretty sloppy at that end, and if you don't have the situation right at the beginning, you can just kite them backwards a little bit until you see one of these weak side opportunities. Basically, whenever you see an AI banner composed out of 2 or 3 enemies, you have an opportunity to attack them where it really hurts them. But mind you, that is something that can be used against you as well, therefore maintain your formations. And number 10, last advice from my side, if you want to play into offense, if you want to attack an enemy and conquer their land and do such things, always be aware of the fact that the enemy will counterattack. This is how this game is coded. So there will be attackers in your own home turf, so be prepared to be attacked and have some defensive forces at hand. Otherwise, you will be just hustling back and forth and not achieving much, because they'll be sieging your homeland while you are trying to do the same at their end. I have not fought a single war in this game yet where I was on the attacker side, where the AI didn't at least try to plunder and sack my land. So be prepared for that. Have 6 to 12 troops at hand to counter that, or as many as you can muster. The more the better, obviously, but be prepared that this will happen. The AI rarely doesn't seize that opportunity. And if it doesn't, it's basically already a beaten AI. Alright, that's been 10 things that I hope will help you out on this end. Leave me here in the comments down below what you would like to add. Leave a like, leave a subscribe. Consider checking out the description box. Consider supporting the channel if you feel like doing so. I would be very grateful. There's YouTube channel membership and a couple of links downstairs. Thanks for everybody who's joining on into the supportive side. And a big thanks to you for watching this video up until the very end. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you had a great time today, and see you all next time.